Alrighty guys, we're here, we're back. It's a little late, but we're here to talk about episode 2 of season 3 of Attack on Titan. So, let's talk about it. So this episode picked up exactly where we left off with last episode, which was Kenny attacking Levi and Levi screaming Kenny, except this time we got a little further and he threw a blade at him. And before I get too far, I just wanted to say, like, after what I had said about my thoughts on the opening, I don't hate the opening, and when I'm done talking about this, I will not address it again until later down the road when I have a little bit more time listening to it other than 2 episodes. But from just the little intro bit that we saw from this episode and kind of the theme, at least with Kenny's side of things and Levi's side of things, I almost feel like while I would still kind of like a faster paced opening, I feel like a Western themed opening would have almost fit better, at least with Kenny and Levi on their side of the story. So those are my kind of thoughts, at least from what I feel from watching it. I don't hate the opening, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad opening, it just, I think there are other things that could have fit better, but now that I'm done, I will stop. I will not apologize, but I will stop talking about it. So let's move on to the next thing.
I will stop, but I will not apologize.
So yeah, Levi and Kenny are kind of duking it out. In fact, Kenny's entire group is taking on Levi, and the animation in this episode... Just, here's my reaction to the opening animation and the main animation of Levi running from Kenny and his group. Like, just watch it. Oh, yes, okay. Oh my god, yeah, now I see what they were talking about. Holy crap! Oh, jeez. Oh, more of it, okay. Oh. Jeez. So yeah, it was exactly what I said it was going to be from last episode, which was episode 1. Hey, you're hooked already, so we're not going to do a whole lot of action this episode, but we're really going to kick it into gear with episode 2, and that's exactly what they did. They really kicked it into gear with episode 2. And we also see that with Levi, he's very, very skilled at, figuring out the situation he's in and finding a way out of it. He took out one of Kenny's guys and managed to shoot at Kenny. He didn't hit him, or at least didn't kill him, but he got him thrown out of the bar by flipping the gun back and shooting him by using the reflection off of a whiskey bottle. I love it. That's what I mean by it's so Western. He ended up in a bar or a saloon, and oh my gosh, it was so cool. I could fanboy out over that just because it was awesome. And the animation leading up to that and all the little ins and outs and all that, I love it. So, yeah, that was cool watching their interaction. But we also see that Levi has no problems killing people, which we kind of already figured with just the way that he is. He has no problem kicking people in the face, Eren, for example, or wounding people or killing people. So he had no problem sticking people in the face and chest and all that with his 3D maneuvering gear. But then we also learned that he had told the rest of the group that this was something they would have to be prepared to do. So they had to also be prepared to kill people. And some of the group didn't take that too well, including Jean. So once Mikasa told them this, the rest of the squad goes in to help Levi fight this group. And we see that the guy who was running the wagon got taken out, and Historia and Eren got tranquilized, and they're unconscious. And so now they went and tried to regain possession of the wagon. So when they go to repossess the wagon, Armin and Jean take the wagon and knock the girl off, and Jean says don't move. Well, he didn't really act on the whole don't move command as she stood up and aimed a gun at him, forcing Armin to have to take this girl out. But they did a really, really good kind of fake out, very, very, very Negan from Walking Dead kind of fake out. This was what I saw. This is what how I reacted to it. You dumbass. Okay. I think they just killed Jean. God. So they had me hook, line, and sinker. I thought that Jean was dead. And then... God. Really? Oh. Oh. So yeah, Jean's not dead, but now Armin is like full-fledged PTSD, like staring 1,000-yard stare. And he's just like, why did I have to be the one to pull the trigger? And Levi even goes like, the other person hesitated, and Armin's like, oh, so they were probably a nicer person, more human than I am. But Levi basically consoles Armin in his own way, where he's like, there's blood on your hands, but if your hands were clean, John wouldn't be here. He'd be dead. So that's, where you're... And even Armin... Because I thought that John was dead when Armin was, like, throwing up and acting all, like, sad and crying and stuff. I thought that John was dead and that he was mourning that. And he goes, is this what you went through? Because I'm thinking, like, oh, he's referring to when Eren was eaten and Mikasa thought that she had lost him. No, it was actually in reference to when Mikasa had killed the group that was in her house way back in season 1. So, yeah, that was interesting. But we see this kind of development with Armin now where he has blood on his hands and the rest of the group has to be okay with that. And even Armin is like the solid foundation of this group because he's just like, we're criminals now. That's what we are. And I appreciate the fact that we're seeing this kind of like, the group is kind of going rogue because no longer are they fighting titans and killing them because they're eating people and they're trying to defend themselves, but they're killing people, and Armin says this, they're killing people because they have different ideas than us. They're in a different group than us. And it really shows this kind of civil conflict within the walls that was kind of bound to happen at some point with the way that the aristocracy is set up within the walls, and you've got the tiered walls and poor to medium to inner wall, fancy people and all that. It's like there's this hypocrisy there of, yeah, you may think you're fancy, but you're still within the walls, and all of that kind of would lead to some sort of civil infighting and civil war. And I'm curious to see if that's what's going to happen or if there's some other stuff that we may not know about yet. I don't know. But we also learned that Historia, or the Rhys family, is the true royal family, which means that Historia is of... I mean, we knew she was of royal blood, or at least sort of royal blood, but she is, I guess, an heir, or has a much higher ranking than we had kind of thought. Oh, and speaking of Eren and Historia, they've both been captured again, and we see Mikasa kind of try to go after them, and Levi stops her, and we, of course, now have another season with another moment of Mikasa being separated from Eren. It's, yeah, I feel like that's a trope or something that's going to be happening a lot with these shows, or with this show in particular. Otherwise, we see the Inner Wall Squadron, the guys that killed the priest, or the priest of the wall or whatever. One of them's being tortured. And we see Hanji and Levi torturing this dude. And he even admitted, he's just like, there's so many people I've killed, my hands are so coated in blood, and I've never gotten joy out of what I've done, unlike you two are monsters. So there was that, and we see that like the physical torture didn't really work. The physical torture just didn't do it. And he was willing to just be tortured to death. He was done. But what they did to get him to confess was it essentially mentally tortured him. So they went and had the other guy from his group, the other guy, read off a script saying how nobody likes this guy. He's always talking about peace in the wall and trusting the king, and blah, blah, blah. And that mentally broke him. And that's how we find out who the Rhys family really is. And the guy basically just spills his guts at that point because he's broken. He is mentally destroyed because he now realizes that nobody has faith in him, and why should he have faith in anything at this point? It was very dark, and really this is already a dark show, and some of the themes they're going to be exploring, I feel like, are going to just get darker and darker and darker. So yeah, that's a thing. That'll be fun to kind of talk about and see as the themes get darker, because this whole show, like I said, is already dark, but getting more into the politics and getting more into the infighting, and that could actually really spell some dark themes in less, you know, dark violence and more dark emotional. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And lastly, we see that Historia, I believe, is reunited with her. I'm guessing it's her father. I don't really know, but he acted sort of weird around her and apologized. And we see Eren tied up on the floor, just kind of deadpan stare, like he's probably going to try to kill somebody at some point, which is just what he does. Oh boy. And I think next episode, from what I saw in the preview, we were going to see a bit more of Historia's past, which I'm excited to know more about her. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but speaking of Historia's past, we get an opening this time since we didn't have an opening last time. And yeah, here's my thoughts, or my reaction rather, to it. This is an interesting ending. Oh my. So it's very Historia focused. Okay. Oh! Whoa! I didn't realize I was gonna piece together into that. I like this. I really like this, actually. So I definitely like this ending a lot. It's a very good ending, and especially with the way that they mixed the last opening in with this ending, I really do like it. It's interesting, though. It's very Historia focused, as I said. You got a little bit of Eren, but I feel like a lot of it's focusing on the past leading to the future, which means that we're probably going to get quite a few flashback episodes. I'm thinking, based on what I saw from last episode, we see a bit more of Historia. I think we're going to get a flashback episode of her, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is definitely a kind of show where I feel like there are certain themes that are established, and when the music or the writing meets that, it works well. And that this episode definitely fit that, and the ending especially fit that. So I really do like this season so far, and I can't wait to see more of it. So I hope you guys kind of liked this revised format compared to the first episode of this that I did, where I just talked about it. There's still going to be a lot of talking, but I figured that I'm going to do some highlights of the reaction to it. So I'm still going to record reactions, but if there's a specific thing that you guys feel as though you want me to bring up in the reviews and put the reaction in for the videos, let me know in the comments. Don't spoil anything, because I'm going to watch the entire episode, but if there's specific things that you guys feel as though are going to be important in the next episode, or any of the episodes, just say, hey, something's coming up with the animation, or something's coming up with one of the story parts, keep an eye out, this episode's going to be great, blah, 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 and I will try to make sure to include the reaction to those in the video somehow or another. So yeah, let me know if you guys like this revised format. I do kind of think that it's a good balance between, like, not doing reaction videos entirely anymore, but doing the reviews, and not completely getting rid of the reactions. But there's a lot of parts in the reaction videos where I just sit, not quietly, but I have to think of something to say because not a whole lot's happening on the screen. I feel like this, with me talking and thinking over what I've just seen, will probably work a bit better in the long run. So let me know if you guys agree with that and all that fun stuff. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff if you guys like this format. If you like the reviews, if you like any of my channel, just make sure to like and subscribe. Comment, let me know what you guys think. And thanks for watching to the end. I will see you guys in the next video that we do. Make sure to be there and have a good one.